Got anything fresh on those killings? No? Damn it. No. Now you listen here, Codsworth, and you listen good. We have 4 deaths in this town. 4. Not a damn one of them are solved. This used to be a nice town. Yeah, I've seen the bodies. Seen what was left of them, anyway. Those weren't accidents, and they sure as hell weren't the work of some maniac. They were torn apart, mauled, like something made a meal out of them. Call me a drunk, if that's what helps you sleep. A guy with too little sleep and a caffeine addiction. But I'm telling you, werewolves are real, Codsworth. Real as the blood on the cobblestones from the victims. And unless we get wise fast, they're coming for the rest of us.
Humanity craves a mystery. Mysteries captivate people unlike anything else. There is a reason that people still argue over things like how the pyramids were built, or cold cases that people still talk about today. After all, one of the most popular genres of video online are true crime videos. Something about a mystery always gets people intrigued and, well, captivated. And this is where the whodunit games come in. If I were to ask you which whodunit game came out first, the likely answer you'd say is Among Us, or Salem, the game that took over the internet in 2020 during the height of the pandemic. It was everywhere. Among Us Let's Plays with hilarious reactions and fonk edits of Markiplier.
God! He went, I'll run away, and then he just...
The start of a whole internet meme and culture, and even a TV show. Green, my beloved, you were gone way too soon. If only you weren't the imposter. Point is, the game was incredibly, and still is incredibly popular even to this day. But why? What about Among Us made us so captivating to audiences? Well, to answer that, we have to look at the primary gameplay. Among Us is a whodunit game where everyone is forced to figure out who the killer is through evidence and trust, while the killer is supposed to exploit that trust and fabricate evidence to last long enough without getting voted out and losing. Again, it's a very simple gameplay loop that has an extreme amount of replayability. But let's rewind a bit. Before 2020, before Among Us even came out, back in 2017, when a group called the Sons of Deepak made a game that would pioneer the genre on Roblox. A game that was so influential that it not only stayed on the front page for several years after it came out, garnering millions of visits, but has also either influenced or inspired many other whodunit games on the platform. And yet, since 2020 to 2021, the game has been dead due to lack of updates, code rot, and just a lack of overall interest in the game as other games came out. Be it because the game was slower in pace, or because games that required more mechanical skill over thinking became the norm, the game saw a steady decline in playership. However, it saddens me that this game was slowly forgotten over time, slowly withering into the sands of Roblox time. For what was an impeccable game on Roblox in 2017, I decided to catalog it and start a new series titled Forgotten Games on Roblox that were astounding and have now been forgotten. With all of that out of the way, if you liked the video, like it. If you dislike it, subscribe and join my community Discord, and let's talk about the forgotten gem, Night of the Werewolf. When you first load into Night of the Werewolf, you're hit with a song that sets the tone of the game perfectly. It's an inquisical song, gentle and somewhat jovial, yet with a hint of mystery as well. It's a simple rhythm, yet that's all it really needs to be. I feel like it also helps set the stage of where we are and where the game takes place. See, the game takes place in Victoria-era England, which is an insanely cool setting, first off. The fact that it uses a time period of when werewolves were fairly common in folklore around that general area of Europe really helps to add a little parallel to the world we live in, which is always a nice touch. In the lobby, we can see that it is quite interesting, yet simple. From the simple world building of seeing Big Ben showing that we are actually not only in England, but London itself, to seeing airships, to add more steampunk vibe that the game was going for. A lot of the time, I say simple is more than enough to convey what tone you're going for, and Night of the Werewolf understands this perfectly. With the music being somewhat more tonally dark, curious, and inquisitive, the city around you being a steampunk version of Victorian England, and there even being shopkeepers to fill the atmosphere to help it feel more alive, Again, the credit you have to give to this, especially for it being a fairly simple game made in 2017. It accomplishes a lot more with how little it actually uses compared to games that do a lot more with what it has and just doesn't end up being as effective. All of this is to say that the lobby is literally perfect. It does exactly what a lobby should do. It establishes the tone of the game without it being in your face about it. Once you've explored the lobby a bit, it's now time to queue up and join an actual match. Well, I had friends to do this. Again, no one plays this game anymore, but I digress. You're teleported to a more centralized park in London. The inquisitive music still plays, but now it takes on a different context. Now you're actively in danger. The game gives you quite a bit of time to get comfortable around the townsfolk, share your roles, and do a little exploration. Again, it's the downtime of this game that really helps add to the suspension and the atmosphere of the game. Because in the game, you're not only just trying to figure out who the people are, you're also townspeople. You live in this town, and if you end up dying, then you're not going to be alive anymore. So that's not something that you want to happen. Though you can't stay safe forever, because eventually night does fall. And when night falls, the game becomes a lot more introspective and mysterious. This is where the true murder mystery vibe starts to kick into place. The town is much darker, and everyone grows much more wary and suspicious of each other. After all, this is the last night that they could be alive, so you might as well make the best of it. During this time, however, everyone gets to use their nightly roles, and all of them are important in some way. There are 13 roles that you could possibly be. For the sake of not ruining the pacing of the video, we won't go through all of them, but we will go through some notable roles of the game. The doctor can save one person from dying every night. However, the catch is you don't know who's being targeted. It's a game of chance. But if you successfully save someone, the payoff is enormous. Officers can be used to find if someone is suspicious. They have 3 categories. Not suspicious for all townsfolk roles, save for the hunter, the doctor, the psycho, the medium, and the murderer. They are considered suspicious. Werewolves themselves are considered very suspicious. And of course, the game's namesake, the werewolves themselves. There could be up to 4 werewolves, 3 normal ones and an alpha one. The alpha makes the final call on who gets the kill. If there is no alpha, the wolves vote on who to kill that night. When all the roles are out of the way, it's time for the most tense part of the game, the catacombs. The catacombs are the way you die. Everyone is put into the same model, save for the werewolves, and the goal is to survive the whole time. The music here is much more tense, while also keeping the motifs of the 2 other themes rather than having everyone be not cloaked figures. If everyone was like a ghost or something in the catacombs, then it'd be a lot different. But with the cloaked aspect of the catacombs and how you look in the catacombs, it makes the game a lot more tense. Here you have a sprint button and nothing else to help you. If you're targeted, then you're going to be outran, outgunned, and probably die. Though there is always a chance you can lock in and break ankles long enough for you to survive, though the odds of this decrease significantly the more werewolves there are. The atmosphere of the catacombs are immaculate. There are bones everywhere. It's dark, there are dead ends, gated areas, stairs, fire pits, and more to show that this is not a forgiving place. It's cold and dark, and absolutely meant to be your final resting place if you get caught. If you make it to the end, though, then you wake up. In the daytime, you finally get to cast your suspicions on who you believe to be the werewolf. This is where the thinking comes in. The werewolves must impersonate a role to have a chance, while getting the town to turn on each other, while the townsfolk must not let themselves be turned on each other by said werewolves. And then, once you vote someone out, you see if they were the werewolf or not. Nothing hurts more than to see you kill an innocent person for no reason. And then the game repeats until either everyone is dead or the werewolves have been exterminated. Now, obviously the game isn't perfect. I'm certainly not trying to argue that. It had flaws, unwinnable scenarios, and bugs. But for what it was, in 2017, this was an S-tier game. The replayability was built into the game with the amount of roles, the night segments, and randomly generated catacombs. The player interactions, it all ended up flowing extremely beautifully into a nice steampunk Victorian era style package. It's no wonder that it was insanely popular 9 years ago when it came out. It accomplished so much with so little. It kept players invested and was overall an extremely fun game to sink many hours into. However, that was also the main problem of the game, and games like this as a whole, is that you can't really sit down to have a fast session. In a full lobby, you could be expected to sit there and play for 30 minutes or more. which is probably why the player count slowly dwindled. Not everyone has the time for a game like this. But with what it was, how the game played, the mechanics, the atmosphere, the OST, it was all insanely perfect for a quaint little game like this. If you ever have a group of friends and want to try it out, I suggest you do. And while the chat might be broken, it is still very worthwhile to try, especially with friends. This is some of the most fun I've had in a while. And that is the end of the video. If you liked the video, like it. If you disliked it, dislike it, subscribe, and join the community Discord, and I hope to see you in the next one.